Hi, everyone. My name is Pam Templer, and I'm a professor in the Department of Biology. Next slide, please. As you're probably all aware, human activities such as the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation are increasing atmospheric concentrations of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases that are all contributing to climate change. And as you all know, these are having negative effects on human health through extreme weather events like sea level rise, flooding, droughts, heat waves, wildfires, and increases in air pollution. Increasing temperatures are also having effects by reducing the winter snowpack in high latitude ecosystems like in New England, with impacts on both human and forest health. Next slide, please. These impacts are important to understand since forests can help us mitigate or reduce climate change. For example, we know that carbon dioxide taken up by trees through photosynthesis and stored in their biomass and soils can offset approximately 30% of human emissions of carbon dioxide around the globe. We also know that forests can help humans adapt to climate change, as you've already heard, by cooling local temperatures. They also reduce and retain compounds like ozone and nitrogen oxides from the atmosphere, and they take up nitrogen and phosphorus from soils that would otherwise diminish our air and water quality, of course, further leading to climate change and damage to human health. It's really important to understand how these threats affect forest health and function, since if they're negatively affected, that diminishes their ability to improve our human health. So some of these threats to tree health, forest health are the same that are affecting humans: water stress, extreme weather events, air pollution, land use change, and a changing snowpack. Next slide, please. In our lab, we examine how these changes in the environment affect the health and functioning of forest ecosystems. In the upper left-hand photo, you can see a photograph of one of our experimental plots in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, where we increased temperatures throughout the summer by 5 degrees Celsius, and then we removed snow in winter to mimic future changes in climate. We also induced drought experimentally by removing about 50 to 95% of incoming precipitation and diverting the water off of our forest plots. We also examine urbanization gradients, and we sample across cities like the greater Boston area to evaluate the effects of things like forest fragmentation and urbanization on forest ecosystems and urban street trees. Throughout these projects, we examine how changes in the environment affect different processes, like how much trees and soil sequester carbon, how do they take up nitrogen and phosphorus and other elements that would otherwise get into our air and the water we drink. Measurements we make include things like greenhouse gas fluxes into and out of trees. We look at tree growth and productivity using tree rings and other measurements, and we look at atmospheric deposition and the role of tree canopies in air and water quality. Some of our surprising results include the fact that we find warmer temperatures do in fact lead to greater growth and carbon sequestration by trees, but those increases are almost entirely offset by our changing winter snowpack here in New England. We also find that while urban street trees can help filter some ambient pollutants that are harmful to human health, like ozone, particulates, and nitrogen oxides, we also find that they can act as concentrators of atmospheric deposition, leading to greater fluxes of nitrogen and phosphorus to nearby waterways, especially when trees don't have soils beneath them and instead have pavement. Next slide, please. I just wanted to touch on the fact that beyond basic science, I'm also really interested in training and helping early career scientists in climate scientists and other related fields. For example, I direct and co-lead with many people on this call the BU Urban program, which trains PhD students in biogeoscience, environmental health, and statistics to work with policymakers, non-governmental organizations, and the private sector to solve real-world environmental challenges. I also co-lead the YA Network, which stands for the Youth Environmental Alliance in Higher Education. It's another NSF-supported collaboration. In this case, spans multiple universities around the globe to empower students to address global environmental problems, but mostly focused on climate change. And we train students to go to meetings like the UN COP, where they lead side events and press conferences. So I invite all of you to reach out to me if you want to collaborate on any of this work. My contact information is at the bottom of the slide. And thank you so much. And I'll hand it off to Ian now.